Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel and another match preview as Forest will be hosting Ipswich Town this weekend at the world famous City Ground. And we had to get the legend himself. The guy who, congratulations, you're over 40k now, Ben, aren't you? So congratulations on that. If you're not following him, why not? You should be. An absolute legend on YouTube. It's Benjamin Bloom. Ben, thank you so much for jumping on, mate. How you doing?
I'm absolutely fine. All the better for being called a legend. I would question that description, but I will take it.
Mate, you got me through some tough times in that promotion season, man. I had like routines that I had to stick to, and watching your preview at a specific time was one of them. So, in my heart, you kind of helped with the promotion, mate. But
I will take all the credit. It was 50% Steve Cooper and 50% me. Yeah.
I would probably agree with that. I would agree with that. You guys, if you're not following, make sure you are. The links in the title and the description. But Ben, your boys Ipswich, did they do a better thing than we did? Which was better in your opinion? Double promotion or bottom to Premier League in us? What would you say was the better?
That's a really good question. I'll give the very political comment first that both were incredible achievements, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I think fans of both clubs would argue kind of big clubs with illustrious histories that had been stagnating and underperforming, just waiting for that moment. Oh God, I mean, put it to the comments. I'm sure all the Forest fans will say their achievement is better, and all the Ipswich fans will say their achievement is better. Probably, given the power of the parachute teams last season and Leicester, Leeds and Southampton, and the points total Ipswich had to get, and the fact it was automatic, Ipswich's might just be slightly more surprising. But Forest, absolutely incredible to rattle through basically from abject relegation, worst season in history form to automatic promotion form. The second Steve Cooper walked into the door. To be very honest, I think without any heart overhead stuff, I do think Ipswich just edges it. But come on, we're talking about A star and A star, aren't we?
Exactly. Guys, comments. Sort it out between you. Let us know which is better. But you're back where you belong, mate. And it's good to see, because I'm a traditionalist, mate. Like the likes of Ipswich, Forest. I want to see Sheffield Wednesday back in there. I hate to say it, Leeds, I still class them as a Premier. I don't like them. Those are the type of teams that are back. So it's good to have your boys back. How have you been feeling about your start to the season so far?
It's hard, isn't it? Because you guys would have, realised this a couple of seasons before we did, that the landscape now for promoted teams is just absurd. And if you're more like a Forest or an Ipswich, where your promotion came a bit out of nowhere and you might not have been 100% prepared for it, Forest went up with 5 loan players and people out of contract. Ipswich went up with a League One squad. With the way the system is now, with the disparity between the TV money between Championship and Premier League and FFP, it's really, really hard. And you come up and, Forest and Ipswich both sign a lot of players and spend a lot of money. And people say, what are you doing? What about the team that got you there? And you're kind of like, what are we supposed to do? Do you know what I mean? You want us to just get relegated and, accept defeat because the chasm's so big. So we've maybe learned that. I think you kind of have to be living it to learn it. And look, we've won 1 out of 12 games. And over the last 2 seasons, we've scored 96 and 98 or 99 points, whatever it was. So it's a bit of a culture shock, but it's amazing to be back and to be in the big league. And as much as you want to learn from Brentford and Brighton doing it all incrementally, Forest and Ipswich didn't have that luxury when they came up. So we do, without sounding like I'm pandering to your audience, we do have to look at clubs like Forest and Bournemouth as an example of, right, how the hell do you do this and not, breach or risk financially? Or if you are going to breach, how can you survive it? And how can you survive? And by the way, when I'm using the term breach, I do actually have some sympathy for Forest, because, again, what the hell else are you supposed to do?
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's quite similar when you look at even the teams that came up with Forest and those that came up with yourselves. Both those teams in both scenarios had previous Premier League recent experience. Therefore, their allowance for PSR is a lot bigger.
By
So
the way,
I see
8 years and 11 years in a row, those two as well. So not just experience, but
yeah,
vast experience. Sorry, continue.
yeah. Yeah, I know. And I was just saying the pathway feels quite similar in terms of the struggles and the barriers that Ipswich have got this season compared to what Forest had as well. And you're right with what you say. You can't win on the narrative. If you spend money, who do you think you are? And if you don't spend money, oh, they're just here for a 1 year
Making
holiday
up
to
the
get their
numbers.
parachute payment. It's like, so what do we do? What do we do? So it's
Agreed.
interesting to see, mate. In terms of your players, though, there's been a few that have been catching the eye. Your version of Morgan Gibbs-White is obviously Delap because, you know, whenever we started first coming up and people, I do this with oppositions, I just say Morgan Gibbs-White. But I want to get a bit deeper. I do rate Delap, but in terms of the players from an Ipswich fan perspective, who are the ones that we need to worry about come this weekend, in your opinion, mate?
I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? You've got a lovely
Yeah,
squad full of players worth tens of
it's
millions,
clicking. Yeah.
but yeah, look, Delap's the obvious one, and that's been a bit of a surprise, to be honest,
Mm,
because you kind of bring in this player for big money, who's not been amazing on loan in the Championship, but you guys have a striker who was not amazing on loan at many Championship clubs and looks pretty damn good in the Premier League now. It's about putting the right player in the right system. And Kieran
yeah.
McKenna clearly, when you hear his comments after Ipswich played Hull last season, clearly wanted Liam Delap for the longest time. Is he Morgan Gibbs-White? Well, Morgan Gibbs-White is very good. Maybe the more similar positionally is Amari Hutchinson, but
Hutchinson, yeah.
Gibbs-White is very good, and was kind of ready-made, really, wasn't he? Hutchinson's now kind of getting going. Obviously, you'll know about Leif Davis, the left back, and the team is frankly set up to get that guy up the pitch. And he's very good, and we're really enjoying Sam Morsey, who you probably thought was an EFL hatchet man, journeyman, but with this guy in the dugout, just keeps on stepping up the level and stepping up the level. We don't have the depth of a Forest, but there's the makings of a really good 11 that's kind of taken the pattern of play from last season, and we will not swap our manager with the majority of Premier League managers. He's doing a brilliant job in the dugout.
You did well to hold on to him because there was a lot of murmurings in the summer that I think he was linked to the Man U job and a few others, and then ended up.
Brighton was the one,
Yeah, that was the other one, wasn't it? So he's done well and shown commitment. Is he like your version of what we had with Steve Cooper now? When he came up, he's just got the backing and kind of give him the keys to the kingdom.
100%. I mean, I would have loved to have seen the betting odds if McKenna had gone on Ipswich to be relegated, because it would have been odds on, I think. But no, he's fantastic, and we're lucky to have him. We got him at the right time, and he seems so switched on, so clever, so calm, so studious, all of those things you want in a manager. And he made a decision that works for us supporters, where he kind of decided that the best place for him, at least this season, he thinks is with Ipswich, trying to continue that project. And it can be very fleeting. I'm a huge Steve Cooper fan. He's just been fired by Leicester, and does he have to now go back to the Championship despite an incredible promotion? Took Swansea to the playoffs twice, kept Forest up in chaos with tons of players coming in and out, and lots of financial stuff going on in the background, and all of a sudden is he a Championship manager again? And someone will be lucky to have him if he is a Championship manager. But things move very quickly for managers, and if you make the wrong call, you can be trending down very quickly, can't you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Cooper's obviously the oracle when he brought us up, but I wasn't that convinced of him in the Premier League, mate. And I think with the Leicester fans, what we saw was he didn't have that credit in the bank with them. So when he started playing that kind of low block defensive football, it just felt like it would be a matter of time. But yeah, looking forward to this weekend, mate. How you feeling ahead of the match? What are you thinking about Forest? I mean, I've seen your videos, my mate Matt. They're always very positive towards Forest. Are you reconsidering now where you think Forest will finish?
No, look, I think Forest's start was red hot to the point that there was always going to be a bit of a when you're going into a game against Arsenal and it's fourth against fifth and it's Forest who are above Arsenal, you're kind of like, hang on a minute, this is going to even itself out at some point. Forest have been brilliant, haven't they? And yeah, I've been positive about Forest, but I'm telling the truth. I'm saying how I feel, and I'm also saying how I feel as an EFL fan, that I just like the fact that someone's coming up and bloodying noses and
The
towards
establishment.
yeah, it's great, isn't it? Towards the top of the league. Look, yes, I'm sure you Forest fans have done it as well. You can argue maybe the fixtures came in a nice order, but Forest were great as well for that first period. Yeah, it's been a couple of defeats there. It's a bit loose, wasn't it, in the second half against Newcastle? And look, Arsenal away.
Horrible.
You know, whatever. You know, most people lose Arsenal away. So I think Forest have been fantastic. It's very difficult, as you will know better than me, as a fan of a promoted team, in the first season when you look at the squads, because literally every week the squad you're coming up against, the Forest squad, is better than the Ipswich squad. Of course it is. There's a chasm between. And then when you add in the fact Ipswich were in League One. So it's very, very scary. You know, on paper, if Forest and Ipswich play 100 times with those squads at the City Ground, Forest will win the vast majority of the games. But it's football. We think our manager's a bit of an equal. I know Nuno's very good as well, but we think our manager's a bit of an equaliser. And also, compared to a lot of Premier League teams, our pattern of play will be more ingrained over the past 2 years. But of course, we don't have Hudson-Odoi or Gibbs-White or, you know, the excellent centre-backs you guys have got as well.
Milenkovic,
yeah, brilliant. And that's what we got to look at doing, you know, invest in building stars and stay up at all costs. But it's going to be really difficult at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I have good memories of playing Ipswich. Obviously, we stayed up, beating you guys 3-0.
I think the longest scored after about 10 seconds. And we kicked off as well at Portman Road. I remember that one as well. Who was your manager?
I remember as well.
Philippe Montagnier.
We haven't played too much recently. I remember one. I think it was against Ipswich. You were winning, and then we got a penalty in like last minute or something.
That was the game after Mick McCarthy left. Possibly, you scored twice right at the end.
Yeah, we scored the penalty. I think it was Brereton Diaz. Who scored the winner? It might have been Joe Lolly. I think I can't remember. It's a while back. But yeah, we've had good. And then there's the McGugan free kick. Lewis McGugan's
great strike, but I'm sick of seeing it.
it's just all over. Anytime we're going to play you, that's going to come up as well. So I think you haven't beaten us in the noughties at the City Ground. I think off the top of my head.
I remember Matt Holland scoring, but that might be 2000 just, or it might be 99. Yeah, we went up.
I think it was 99. I think it
might have even been December. Yeah, I was at the game.
Yeah.
I was at the game, but yeah, I remember that season you had David Platt and loads of expensive Italians that weren't very good, were you? But yeah, let's be honest. Both clubs, from the incredible heights of Clough and Robson, didn't have a very good time for a long time, let's just say.
A long time, yeah. Apart from, again, something similar. I mean, I remember Forest got promoted under Frank Clark, finished third. You guys did the same as well, got fifth, didn't you?
Amazing.
And then almost a similar pattern. We then got relegated 2 seasons later. If I'm right, you got relegated the next season as well. So there's a lot of similarities. And it's what I like, these traditional Premier League clubs for me, mate. So I'm excited about this weekend. What's your predictions, Ben? How do you see this one going? Heart and head. Go heart and head.
So I've gone for 0-0 on the prediction show over on the Blue Monday podcast. That's probably a little bit of heart because Forest are probably quite strong favourites. But the heart says the timing of the game is really good for Ipswich because, as I understand, Gibbs-White might not be risked. And even if you've got Delap, your 2 centre-backs are fantastic as well, aren't they? But, you know, you're off back-to-back defeats and we're off, 3 games undefeated, which, I know you've had a 3-game win streak.
That's a good streak. Yeah.
But for a promoted club, if you can do 5 points across 3 games and you can do that a few times in a season, you're really increasing your chances of getting to that 30 to 35 points that might keep you in the division. So it's going to be a struggle. Forest are not the type of team Ipswich match up well against as well, because you're good without the ball, you're good defensively. We'd honestly prefer a bit more of a, kind of, I don't know, a more open side. But Nuno's proven over many years he's not naive
Pragmatic.
when it comes to defending. So it's going to be a struggle. Let me tell you this: we play Crystal Palace on Tuesday. I will take a 4-0 whacking off Forest if you give me a win over Palace. So it's one of those where I'd take a defeat if we beat Palace. But look, if you give me a point now and a 0-0 and a clean sheet, I'm not even showing up to the game, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I don't know, mate. I'm worried about this one. I've liked how you've been playing. I think you should have beaten Man U at the weekend. And like you say, you're on a nice
too many games like that though, where we played well and we've won 1 in 12. It's so hard.
Sticks out. Yeah. Couple of others, and you guys took the lead against Man City as well. You've had quite an entertaining season. It's been enjoyable watching you, unlike Luton that everyone was going on about last season. I like how you
guys hate Luton, don't you?
Oh, mate, honestly, plucky Luton, that's all we had.
I live literally, my missus works in Luton. I live literally 25 minutes down the road from Luton.
I grew up in Bedford, so I don't like Luton.
Yeah.
So I don't like them. But listen, I know you're tight for time, mate. I just want to thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Guys, make sure you go and check out Ben's channel. I know most of you are subscribed anyway. It's in the title. All you have to do is click it. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new. We'll see you on the next video on You Reds.